Roman Rudin, strange occurrence in the region of the heart. So today is class preparation part 3, and our story is The Wind in Rome. So being part 3, we've read several pages, but as a brief sort of overview summary, I would say, so the storyteller here seems to be the Emperor of Rome. Now we don't know which one, but the only name so far in the story that we've had is this one here, Celestian, and he is the commander of Rome's navy. And the navy has a problem in that there is no wind, and being basically that they're all sailing ships, it means that they're stuck in the bay at Rome. One of the other characters we've had so far, no name, is a lady, an old woman referred to as a crackpot. If you call someone a crackpot, you're basically calling them mad, essentially mad, or you could say strange or unusual, eccentric perhaps. And I suppose really an old woman in this sort of story at this time in ancient Rome is sort of almost often, or very often in these sort of stories, is an oracle. And an oracle is somebody who predicts the future. They foretell what is going to happen in the future. That's really what an oracle does. They make a prophecy. And the problem here for the emperor is the lack of wind. And so we're sort of expecting the old woman's oracle to really probably refer to the wind in some way. So if I just flick through to where the wind, so sorry, where the oracle is made, and so the oracle is another way of saying the prophecy. So the prophecy or the oracle seems to be this. In the mountains it was born, over the sea it was lost. Search in the place where you have not yet looked. And then a few lines further down, she continues, you cannot return that which you did not possess. If you find that which you have not lost, you might lose everything which belongs to you, and then also that which you are yet to have. And of these prophecies or oracles are famously difficult to understand, and in fact they're very often misunderstood. So we'll probably continue for the next 2 pages, but as a sort of an introduction, I'll continue from here, the little bit that we read last week as well at the end of last week's reading, and it starts, my concubines. Okay. My concubines. My head used to be turned more by the impetuous gallop of a mare with her mane tossing in the wind, by an untamed herd of horses down at the shoreline, challenging the waves and scattering the foam with their hooves. I can watch that forever. At least I could until the wind vanished. Maybe that is why I have always preferred to campaign against naval powers, despite the seasickness which has plagued me since my very childhood. Or maybe I sensed from my very childhood that misfortune would come from a distant mountainous land where I have never been. For the same reason, for fear of losing sight of the sea. Sometimes I find it funny that no one has guessed this weakness of mine. I do have one powerful quality. I am bound to nothing. I bow to no one. I love no one. I am certain that the only genuinely powerful person is he who has no attachments. There are no bounds stronger than love. He who has known love has acquired a weakness and cannot hope to become strong once again. and for this reason Caesar knows not love, and of this Caesar is rightly proud. Of course I have of course I have women without number, from the north and from the south and from the west of the empire and from the east. Yet not one of them touches my heart sufficiently for me to even want to ask any of them their name. The fair-haired maids who have made the long journey from Scandinavia, the dark-skinned denizens of Africa, the almond-eyed natives of the lands of the East, none of them can even speak my language, and so I can hardly remember the faces of those who my personal servants bring to me for a second time, mistaking my uncertain stare for long-awaited attention. Of course, as soon as we are left alone, the girls immediately try to say something in their barbarous dialects. Plus, later, as they rise from the couch, they they again attempt to repeat their name, in the hope that this time, at last, I will remember all the sounds in the sequence. Whether long or short, they are equally incomprehensible to me. I divide them into three parts: howls like a dog's, hisses like a snake's, or chirrups like a bird's. I don't encounter many in the last category. And so, from his first land campaign, from his first land campaign, like all his others, Celestian returns victorious, and like from all his other campaigns, he brings back with him women. Some of them ride on the wagons, but not many, and the rest go on their own 2 feet. I wish to return as soon as I can to my contemplation of the sea and my horses, but what I see diverts my attention for quite some time. The women that my centurion has brought back from the pacified mountain kingdom do not look like other women that I have seen before. They parade slowly past me, their hair color of tarnished bronze, their faces well sculpted, their necks long, their skin dusky. All of this differentiates them from my concubines, and they do not so much as glance in my direction. The last in line is the only girl out of all of them who meets my gaze. She is taller than the rest, and her hair is cut so short you can hardly guess its shade, the same dull bronze as the others. Of course, her hairstyle piques my interest, but still more does the look on her face, which implies the real captive here is me, as though someone has changed our respective positions for an instant. Whatever is happening here? Afterwards, throughout the whole of the following night, I see her face before my eyes, but for some reason the thought never enters my head to order her brought to my chambers. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before. The next morning I ask Celestian about her hair. He replies that all the women of the conquered kingdom sheared off their hair as soon as they realized that their husbands or fathers would not be able to protect them. And yet all of the others have managed to grow their hair back. Why not her? I do not know, my sovereign, but I can vouch for the fact that no knife has touched a hair on her head since we set out on the march home. It must mean that she's a witch, I say with a wry grin. and her power is greater than mine, for I cannot command my hair to stop growing. So we'll stop reading there. There's one or two words on this page here I notice. So there's this word here. This word is, of course, peaks. Peaks. So catches your interest in this case. So he says piques my interest. So in other words, catches my interest particularly.